In 12 months, we saved more than we had in the previous 3 years combined. Same income, same life, one different system. But what I need to tell you first is what was happening before that. Because for 3 years, I did everything right. And we were still building completely different futures without knowing it.
Charlie had a spreadsheet tracking every dollar we spent. He knew what we spent on groceries in October versus March. He reviewed the numbers every single month. And somehow, the whole time we were saving toward to completely different futures out of the same bank account, and neither of us knew that about the other.
3 years. The problem wasn't what we earned. It wasn't what we spent. It was the structure of the system we had built together. And we only figured that out when, by accident, we broke everything and had to rebuild from scratch. Year 1. Combined income around $78,000. We saved about $400 a month. Year 2. $84,000. We saved $420. Year 3. $91,000. We saved $390. We made $13,000 more per year and saved $10 less per month. You know what that looks like? It's like a pipe with a slow leak. You turn up the water pressure, but the flow at the faucet doesn't change. It's just escaping faster somewhere else in the wall.
What made it so frustrating was that we weren't being reckless. No impulse trips to Vegas, no shopping sprees. We were just living normally. And every month, the math still didn't work.
When I stopped looking at what we were spending and started looking at how the system itself was built, I found 3 mistakes. Not bad habits, not personality flaws, structural mistakes, things we had engineered into how we managed money that guaranteed we'd never get ahead, no matter how hard we tried.
Mistake 3 is the one that still embarrasses me because I knew better. I read personal finance books for fun, and I still walked right into it.
Mistake 1. We saved what was left. For 3 years, our saving system worked like this. Income came in, bills got paid, we spent on what we needed, and whatever was left at the end of the month went into savings. That sounds completely reasonable. It's also exactly why our savings barely moved. Saving what's left means saving a variable. Think of it like this. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a cup, except first you use the cup to water the plants, wash the dishes, take a sip. Whatever's left in the cup goes to the bucket. Some months, that was $600. Some months, it was $40. Some months, it was a text from Rose that said, "Hey, did you know that annual subscription just renewed?" The research on this is unambiguous. A study from the Journal of Consumer Research found that households who save first before spending anything accumulate an average of 2.4 times more wealth over 10 years than households with identical incomes who save last. Same money, same time. The only difference is the order.
The real cost of this mistake didn't show up in the numbers. It showed up in how saving felt every single month, like a negotiation. Good month? Save more. Tight month? We'll make it up next time. When saving starts to feel like a reward for discipline instead of the foundation everything else is built on, it becomes the first thing that disappears every time life gets complicated, and life always gets complicated.
Mistake 2. We treated our money as separate.
When we moved in together, we each kept our own accounts. We split the bills down the middle. Charlie covered rent, I covered utilities and groceries. Personal spending, each of us handled our own. It felt fair, modern, like we were respecting each other's independence. What it actually created was 2 parallel financial lives inside one shared one. Think of 2 business partners working on the same product, but each keeping their own version of the file, never syncing, never comparing notes. Eventually, the versions drift so far apart that neither one knows which is real anymore. That was us. Charlie was saving towards something. I was saving towards something else. Neither of us knew exactly what the other was doing, and neither of us thought to ask, because the system we'd set up didn't require that conversation.
The structural problem is this: when finances are separate, every shared goal becomes a negotiation. Vacation? Who covers what? Emergency? Whose savings takes the hit? Big purchase? Do we split it, or does one of us front it and get paid back? Those negotiations don't feel like financial decisions, they feel like relationship decisions, and over time, the friction of constantly renegotiating what should be shared creates a low-grade resentment that neither person can name, because it's attached to money, not to each other.
Mistake 3 is the one that still stings. It was my specific blind spot, and looking back now, it's almost embarrassingly obvious.
Mistake 3, a budget with no destination. I built a budget in year 1 and kept it faithfully for 3 years. It told us exactly where every dollar went: groceries, gas, subscriptions, savings. What it never told us was where we were going. Imagine flying a plane with the most sophisticated instrument panel ever built. Altitude, airspeed, fuel level, all of it in real time. But you never entered a destination into the navigation system. You know exactly where you are. You have no idea if you're heading somewhere worth going. That was our budget. Perfect precision, no destination.
When Charlie finally asked me out loud, directly, what I thought we were saving for, I went quiet for a moment. I had thought about it. A lot, actually. But I'd been thinking about it on my own, assuming Charlie was picturing the same thing. He wasn't. We were building different futures out of the same bank account, and we had never once compared maps.
The system, the one-roof model. We rebuilt our financial system from scratch. We called it the one-roof model, and because for the first time, everything was under one roof. 3 changes, not 30, 3. Save first, automatically on payday. We set a fixed transfer, $800 a month, to leave our joint account the same day our income arrived. Not whatever was left, $800 every month, non-negotiable, before we touched anything else.
That one change made saving feel completely different. It stopped being the result of how well we managed that month and became the baseline everything else was built around. It's a small shift on paper. It's a massive shift in your head.
One shared account for shared goals, individual accounts for individual freedom. We opened a joint account specifically for shared financial goals: the down payment fund, the emergency reserve, future investments. We each kept individual accounts for personal spending. No negotiation, no visibility into each other's choices, no judgment. Shared goals got funded first. What remained went to individual accounts proportional to income.
The relief was immediate. We had the same money as before, but I stopped feeling like every personal purchase was a small act of defection from our shared plan. It was like we'd been splitting every single utility bill with a calculator in hand, and then suddenly the house just worked.
One purpose, named, written, revisited every year. We wrote down, on paper, not in a spreadsheet, what we were actually building toward. Not financial security. Something specific. A down payment on a home in 4 years, 3 months of expenses as a permanent floor, and the ability for one of us to take a career risk without the other one carrying the full financial weight alone. We put a date on each one, then we worked the numbers backward from those dates.
For the first time, the budget wasn't a record. It was a compass. Every number in it had a reason to exist.
In the 12 months after we switched to the one-roof model, we saved $1,400. Same income as the year before. Almost no change in lifestyle. In the 3 years before that, with all the spreadsheets, all the tracking, all the monthly reviews, we had saved $9,800 in total over 3 years.
The number is real. But when I think back on that year, the number isn't what stays with me. What stays is that we stopped managing money and started building something together. Those aren't the same thing. Managing money is maintenance. Building something is direction. The moment we knew where we were going, every decision got easier. Not the math, the decisions.
You don't need a better budget. You need to know what the budget is for. If any of those 3 mistakes sounded familiar, you're not behind. You're just running the wrong system. Drop it in the comments. Which of the 3 mistakes do you make most? And subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.